Alrighty, on the podcast today, we have a Sydney-born comedian who starred in shows like Fat Pizza, Howzos, Swift and Shift. He's also spent years on the radio in Beirut and toured the world opening for some of the biggest names. He's now back with his new live show, The Immigrant's Kid. Please welcome Anthony Salame.
Thanks, brother. How are you? Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming on.
Nice intro.
Thank you.
And I would never correct someone this early into the podcast.
Yep.
But I'm actually not Sydney born.
You're not Sydney-born?
But Sydney raised.
Sydney raised.
I was born in Adelaide, lived there for like the first 10 years of my life.
Okay.
But sorry, man, I didn't mean to pull you up straight away. 30 seconds into the podcast, fact checking you.
Everything online told me you were born in Sydney.
Wikipedia, I'm telling you, I know we live and die by Wikipedia. Some things aren't as accurate as we think they are. But are you a ChatGPT guy? Are you someone that...
I use it to help me summarize a few things from time to time. But I find, to be honest with you, lately I found ChatGPT to be wrong more often than not.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I need you to speak to my wife, man, because she's like, I feel like I'm a third wheel sometimes with her and ChatGPT. It's like everything, she runs to ChatGPT all the time.
There's been a few times where I've asked it to search for something, and it'll come back and tell me it doesn't exist, but I know that it does. Wow. So I have to prompt it and say, but hold on, yes, it does. Then it'll come back to me and say, you're right.
Wow.
It's like, well, what's the point of using you, right?
That's bizarre. Yeah, well, I mean, that's technology, man. I think we rely on it too much.
I think we do. I think today's world a little bit too much. But yeah, no, thanks for coming on, man. I feel like I'm sitting across from an icon, legend.
Bro,
So
you've been too nice.
I grew up watching you, man. Fat Pizza and Howzos and your stand-ups. And
thank you, brother.
Yeah, and you got that face that, when I told people I've got Anthony Salame coming on, a lot of them were like, well, who's Anthony Salame? Then I show them your videos. Oh, Anthony Salame.
Yeah. You can't forget this face. Thanks, man. Thank you. They're all nice things. And, it's good to be sitting across from you, bro. Looking forward to it. I know we've been trying to line this up for a bit.
We have, yeah. We've gone back and forth a little bit, but you're here now.
Yeah.
So, look, man, I'd love for the audience to get to know you a little bit. You've got a hell of a story. You've lived overseas. You've lived abroad. You've done a fair few things over the years. So, but let's start with your origins, your roots. So, not born in Sydney, born in Adelaide.
Yeah, born in Adelaide. It was my parents. It was funny. Like my parents met in Sydney, and then they moved to Adelaide back in the 70s. There was a lot of work happening. I don't think much has happened in Adelaide since the 70s.
Funny you say that. I actually went to Adelaide about 2 years ago. That was the last time I went, and I was looking around and I felt like it was Sydney 50 years ago.
Yeah, and it kind of is. And you know what? I actually love Adelaide. I have a really soft spot for it. I was there a few weeks ago, and every time I'm there, it does take me back to my childhood, And I'm actually glad that I was born there and lived the first 10 years of my life there. A lot different. The Lebanese community there, especially, is a lot different than this.
I wouldn't know. Is there a big Lebanese community?
There isn't. Very small.
Yeah.
Very small. I think maybe 10,000.
Wow, tiny.
I mean, yeah, it's funny, if someone overseas was hearing this saying 10,000, that's a lot of people. But compared to Sydney, where you got close to 500,000.
500,000 here, yeah.
It was tiny. There was no other Lebanese on my street or in my school or anything like that. So, it was good. I enjoyed that. But we still came to Sydney. My holidays were sitting in a car between my two brothers. One of my brothers was very heavily overweight at that age. And I'd be sitting for 19 hours in the middle, driving from Adelaide to Sydney. You know what I mean?
Drive to be squished in the middle.
Yeah. And ethnics, man, Lebanese, they're
Fill
not,
up the car.
They're not stopping overnight in a hotel, motel.
No bathroom breaks.
We're going straight, man. We're going straight. Hold it. So childhood was great, man. It was... I wasn't exposed to the Lebanese culture much. All I knew was, from my family and friends and, you go to church on Sunday or the community. But it was, apart from that, it was a very kind of Aussie upbringing for the first 10 years of my life. So when I did move to Sydney...
Is that because of that's how an Adelaide thing?
Yeah, it's just...
Because there just wasn't
it's
as many...
just white,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
White, yeah.
I'd go... to the next door neighbor's house, they'd been having cheese on toast for dinner. Like that's just, and for me, that was bizarre,
Right.
you know, like it was something that I'd never kind of seen before. And when I moved to Sydney, I'm like, man, there's so many, there's 6 Lebanese kids in my class,
Yeah.
you know, alone.
Yeah.
So the I kind of embraced the culture a lot when I moved to Sydney. It was overwhelming. Like it was weird. I couldn't fathom how many Lebanese people were here and how much the culture was ingrained into society. The Lebanese culture, the food, the music. But you got white people that have Lebanese drums at their wedding. You know, the culture has really become ingrained into the Sydney culture, I guess. So, it was something I definitely embraced when I moved to Sydney.
Why the move from Adelaide initially?
It's funny like how life works. I know my father was buying a business with his brother who lived here, and then I remember this because I was like 11 years old when we moved. So they were buying a business, and then we packed the house up. We'd sold the house. The trucks came and moved our stuff. I remember we were about to get into that car to do that 19-hour trip again for the last time.
Between your brothers.
Yeah. And my dad got a phone call and said, listen, the business has been sold to someone else.
Oh, really?
And we had packed everything and moved everything. So my dad's just like, well,
we're still going.
We're still going, and I'll just buy another business there, you know. So so Sydney was the spot. 1995 we moved. And man, it was it's been a journey ever since.
You said you're in Greystanes at the moment. So were you always around?
No,
the west,
so we moved. Yeah, always in the west, but it was more like Liverpool area growing up.
Yep.
And pretty much there until my late 20s.
So at what age do you feel like you realized you had a knack for making people laugh? Was it early on in Adelaide, or was it?
Yeah, it was early on. I mean, I always loved making people laugh. I was always that kid that would come out dressed when my parents had guests over. I'd put like stuff on my head to make them laugh and do little crappy jokes. But not until, because these days kids can jump on YouTube and know what a stand-up comedian is. Back then, stand-up comedy was not
wasn't as big. It
wasn't even a known thing in Australia. It's an American art form. So even here in the 80s and 90s, it was still quite relatively new. There wasn't stand-up comedians on TV unless like it was on the Footy Show, which was probably. I
remember the Footy Show was like the
early
gateway
2000s,
to a lot of like Carl Barron and all those guys.
Exactly.
And they were the first to kind of
correct.
Pave the way for comedy in Australia, right?
100%, man. Carl Barron, Jim Owen, Tahir, Anthony Murr, a lot of these names. But even before that, all I kind of knew was like Eddie Murphy, Delirious. And a few other.
Very American influence.
Very American, because that's kind of all there was.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know it was a career choice. I just thought, like, I remember the first time I heard Eddie Murphy, Delirious, I was, not even a teenager yet. And I didn't know that stand-up comedy. I just thought this guy's telling jokes and there's all these people laughing,
Yeah.
I didn't know this could be a career path one day, But when I got later into my teens, and like you mentioned, these shows like Fat Pizza, like I was a fan, you know. I used to watch these shows in high school, and then, I got to work with people that I kind of looked up to, which was phenomenal, and it was kind of one thing led to the other. It started in theatre, which went into a bit of acting, and then
did you do a bit in school as well? Like, were you the funny guy in school?
Man, it wasn't cool to be a ethnic dude doing theatre in school. You know what I mean? Like my friends are all talking about.
Oh no, I did a bit of theatre myself.
Did you?
Yeah.
And how was the pushback from your friends?
Yeah. It was weird.
What
it
are
was
you
like,
doing, bro? What are you, gay, man?
Yeah. You trying to be an actor, bro?
Yeah, exactly. But I did always. It's funny because in school I thought to myself, I would love to join the drama class or whatever, but I didn't, in fear of being teased by my friends.
Yeah.
And I know some people may see this and go, well, what kind of friends are they?
It's different back then,
They're
though.
still my friends until this day.
But it was a lot different back then.
Man,
you know?
that's how we showed love. That's
Yeah.
how we embraced each other, from teasing each other.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the things we said to each other at school, people go to therapy for these days.
It was all real though, right?
Yeah,
It was real.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's like what your friends say to you. It's their way of showing love back then,
100%.
right? Like as opposed to like, hey, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, these days you would get expelled for, being abusive in the classroom and that. Back then, that's just kind of how it was, man.
Yeah.
That's why I think people may be a little bit thicker skinned from my generation or your generation compared to.
I think my generation was the last generation.
Well, you're a bit younger than me.
I'm 35.
Okay, so I'm 42.
Yeah, so yeah, I think my gen was like the last gen.
Yeah.
Before, after that it was all therapy. As you
Yeah,
said.
yeah, exactly, man. So, but I think that's with everything, man. Things kind of change and kind of move around, and I see a lot of people my age kind of getting upset, and they kind of, oh man, this new generation is so soft. Yeah, they could be, but
It is what it is.
It is what it is, man,
We're
you know?
not here to change people or,
No, and I think it goes through waves, man.
Yeah.
So, it'll probably come around.
they're just a product of the environment, though.
Correct.
Like they've grown up with social media and Facebook, Instagram, and
Yeah.
being judged online.
Yeah.
See, with us, like we weren't really. We were judged by what we did, every
Yeah.
day. Our friends, the
That's
people
right.
around us. So
And
there
you
wasn't
could-
as many eyes on us.
And you could go home and leave it at school.
And you switch off.
You switch off.
Yeah. Whereas
it
that
follows
doesn't
you home
exist
now,
anymore.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I kind of feel for the
I
new
do.
generation,
I was just about to say that I feel for as opposed to like hammering them, I feel for them because it's a totally different world.
Yeah.
So for the older gen to sit there and say, oh, they're soft, and it's hard to kind of comprehend
It is.
how they're growing up compared to how we grew up.
Yeah. And I mean, I do not envy this generation growing up with a tablet in their hands.
Oh,
And,
yeah,
it's tough. Like, and I know I've got my son is 2 years old, and we're trying to hold him off
Screen time.
and
Yeah.
only trying to limit TV to the weekends. And I know people are watching this go, what are you, what kind of concentration camp are you running at home? But, it's working for us.
Yeah, we're the same. My wife is pedantic. It's
Yeah.
like screen time. They're allowed my kids. I've got a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, and
Okay.
a 3-year-old. They're only allowed their iPads Wednesday for an hour,
Okay.
and Friday night for an hour and a half.
I love
That's
that.
it. And
But-
there's no negotiation.
But I think that from a young age, it shows kids, hey, listen, the things that we enjoy, we can't enjoy them whenever we want, wherever we want.
That's right.
This is the time. It gives them something to look forward to. It makes them.
They have to earn it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So no, I love that, man. I might take that on board and
Thank
do
you.
the check in, check out of screen time.
Yeah. You mentioned the TV shows earlier. So
Yeah.
did you step into acting before the stage, or did the stage like for comedy, or what came first?
Oh man, if I want to be totally honest, the first thing that came was I tried stand-up comedy.
Okay.
I did like an open mic night at the Sydney Comedy Store where you get like 5 minutes. It's all new comedians. Like no one's a professional that night except the MC. And I'd read this 5 minutes. I was about 18 years old, and I thought,
Fresh out of school.
yeah, I'm gonna be the Lebanese Eddie Murphy. You know what I mean? This 5 minutes is gonna
Change my
blow.
life.
It's gonna change my life.
Yeah.
There's gonna be 15 people in the comedy club, but this is gonna be the set that changes my life. And I got on stage and I absolutely bombed.
Really?
Oh, I did maybe 2 minutes and got off stage.
Wow.
I forgot my jokes. I wasn't delivering, and I'd invited like all my family and friends, and
So the confidence was there.
the confidence was there.
What do you think happened?
Just the material, the delivery, the stage presence. None of that was there. Listen, young, cocky.
Yeah.
I probably was too confident.
Thought you knew it all.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd never
As
been
we
on
all do,
stage
as we all do,
before.
right?
Yeah. So I kind of put it on the back burner. I thought, all right, you know what? Maybe stand-up comedy is not for me. I went about a year later. I went and studied theatre.
Okay. Where'd you study?
I studied in North Sydney.
Okay.
At like a little acting college. And, it's funny because prior to this, I was like about 19, 20 years old maybe when I started this course. And I'd done everything, man. I left school. I didn't go to uni. So I worked in a servo, delivered pizzas, worked on a job site digging ditches. I've been doing everything.
So when you left school, the idea was to do comedy, or there was no real direction? You didn't really
there was no direction at all.
Okay.
So
you didn't leave school think comedy is the way. This is what I'm going for, or was it that you bombed and then you said, shit, I got to do something else?
Yeah, deep down, I thought to myself, oh man, like I'd see these TV shows and I'd be like, finally there's some kind of representation on television with people that look like me. Maybe I do have a chance of doing something. Because prior to that, there was Acropolis Now in the 90s. I don't even know if you remember that show.
I remember that, I do.
So that was the only show that I kind of could relate to where you had ethnics on TV. So I still didn't think stand-up comedy is a career, but, I bombed in that stand-up set. I went and auditioned for this acting college, but at the same time, I was still working. Like, my dad was like, listen, you want to go study acting? You can do that, but you still got to go work. You got to go get a job.
I was going to ask, like, what were your parents' thoughts? Because most ethnics are like...
At the start, they were like, no way. Go learn a trade. Both your brothers are electricians. Go do something like that. But I was kind of... I knew that I wanted to do something in the arts or something creative. I just felt it, So after, begging my parents, they're like, all right, listen, go get it. You need to keep working if you want to go, do this course. Now, I dropped out of the course after 6 months.
Okay. All right. So you didn't even finish the course?
I didn't even finish the course, man.
Right.
They were probably... They actually were teaching me skills that I needed to know as an actor. But I was like, man, when are you going to make me famous? Yeah. When are you going to make me... Yeah. When am I going to be on TV? When are you going to get me into...
So you're impatient.
I didn't really know the process, like I was in voice class and the voice teacher's making us run in a circle, leaping, going, to open up the diaphragm. I'm like... What are you doing, man?
What is this? This is an acting, yeah.
So I dropped out. And like I said, it's funny how things work. I was just speaking like with my father, how, we ended up coming to Sydney. The business thing fell through. Like I dropped out of this acting course, and literally that night, my buddy called me who I was doing the course with. We both dropped out on the same day.
Yeah.
My buddy Wissam said, there's these guys that want to do a theatre show. It's at the Enmore Theatre. It's a one night only. He met him and he's like, they want to meet us to possibly be in the show. And I ended up going to meet these guys, ended up doing this one night only show at the Enmore Theatre called The Godmother.
Okay.
And I had a very small role, but two very good friends of mine were in the crowd that night, Rob Shahady and Tahir.
Legends themselves.
Legends. These are the dudes I used to watch on Pizza, and they saw me and they were working on a show called From Lebanon with Love.
You
know this show?
I love that show.
Okay, so then they asked me to be a part of that show, which we ended up touring around Australia for like a year.
That show put you guys on the map.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
Oh man, it was.
I used to know that show line for line.
Bro,
so many times I watched it.
I'm 42 years old. That show was like 20 or so years ago.
Yeah,
and until this day, people like come up to me in public and call me Majnoon.
Yeah.
And my wife, she's from Canada, so she didn't know this show, right? She's not a part of the culture here. Like, we were walking in a shopping center and some dude calls out, Majnoon, what's going on, Majnoon? And my wife's like, why is this guy calling you crazy? I'm like, oh, no, it's just a character that I played. She didn't know.
She didn't know.
But it was a snowball effect. So From Lebanon with Love, the director of that show was Tahir.
Yep.
And he obviously one of the most prominent stand-up comedians in this country for the last 20 years. So I just told him, man, I've got a few jokes that I've written down. I'd love your opinion. Yep. And this was maybe, 6 months into us touring this From Lebanon with Love show. So I'd performed on stage in front of, 1,500 people,
Yep.
1,000 people.
Got
So
that experience
I
now.
got a bit of confidence,
Yeah.
stage confidence. So he literally just said to me, hey, I'm doing a show in 2 weeks. I think it was at like Carlingford Bowls or something.
Yeah.
And he was just do 5 minutes before me, And I did. And, he helped me with some of my jokes. And that was it, man. The gig went well.
Yep.
And then for me, it was like, that's a stand-up. This is stand-ups for me,
This is what I want to do.
This is what I want to do. So that's kind of the origin story of how stand-up started in my life. And we're still here 20 years later, man.
How'd you land the roles in pizza, and was that because of your relationship with the boys, obviously?
Kind of, yeah. Like it's funny, man, and I think life works like this. It's you can't force things. Sometimes things just kind of come naturally, and I did that first show, The Godmother, and
like
Robin
you said,
Tahi.
you were trying to do acting school, then you dropped out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
it just
things just happened the way they're supposed to happen.
Totally, man. And like the boys saw me in that show that I did. They asked me to do Lebanon with Love. Then Paul Fennick, who's the creator of Fat Pizza,
Yep.
he saw me in Lebanon with Love.
Yep.
And then he asked me to do like a short film that he did on like the Cronulla riots. It was like a short comedy film. And I did that, and then he asked me to do the last season of Pizza back then, before they brought it back. And then I did some of his other shows, like Swift and Shift Couriers, and, so it was just kind of like a domino effect.
Yeah.
One thing led to the next. And I think that's, kind of how life works. I know a lot of people think, this didn't work, I got to give up and move on. But no, sometimes it's just being in front of the right people at the right time, to get that opportunity handed to you.
What was the experience like being on a full set filming TV show? Because you had already done stand up for a while now, and everything you had done was in front of a crowd.
Correct.
So now I'm on a full set, and there's cameras everywhere, and
it's a different vibe, man.
Yeah.
It's a different vibe, especially to stand up or theater. The beauty about stand up is it's you, a microphone, and the crowd. That's it. With television, and I'm sure more people are kind of aware these days, but it's very time consuming. You sit on a set for maybe 2-3 hours, just waiting. You're falling asleep. You got to do a take maybe 5-6 times to get it right. Lighting stuff's up. You got to change it. So it's a very time consuming,
very tedious.
Yeah, and it just takes up the whole day. Where live entertainment, whether it be theater or stand up, it's kind of like, listen, you got the show that goes for an hour, 90 minutes, whatever you're on stage for. It's you. It's an immediate response, immediate validation.
And you're feeding off that energy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Where with television, you film it, it's maybe on TV a year later. And then it might come up, they might cut half your scenes out. Yeah. It might be very different to what you shot it. So listen, I enjoyed the process, and I still do enjoy doing it. But nothing compares to that live audience, then and there.
Any stories for us? Anything that's happened to you on stage or prior or?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, what kind of stories do you want, man? There's listen, there's been some strange things that have happened, man, and even till this day, it's not just the glitz and glam of doing big theaters or sold out comedy clubs, and you got to do gigs where the environment isn't set up for stand-up comedy. You'll do private gigs sometimes. They're the better paying gigs.
Private gigs. Really?
That's why they pay. That's why you can charge big dollar, or you can charge a premium price, because you got to work.
Yeah.
It's actually tough work. On Friday, I was in Melbourne. I flew to Melbourne to do a soccer club presentation night. They booked me to, man, it was the hardest I had to work in maybe 5 years.
To get the crowd into it?
No, half of them aren't listening. Half of them are young kids that play soccer. They don't even care about who's on. They just want to run around with their friends. The other half don't even care. Like, if they're 70 and above, they're just talking to their friends. So I got on stage I'm literally trying jokes and trying material. Man, nothing's really landing. People are talking or whatever. So I just had to start talking to the audience and bouncing off the audience. And that's what they wanted. And then I did half an hour of that.
Yep.
Like, forget about these jokes that I've crafted and tried and tested and for like the last 12 months that I've been working on. Those all out the window. You just got to use those tools that you've learned over the years of crowd interaction and,
Does that happen often? You have to be off the cuff? Or?
I mean, yeah, I like to do a little bit of crowd stuff in my gigs, but these kind of gigs are, once I did a footy club and I didn't know this, but they had like 2 strippers on before I went on. And this is a 200 men in a room drinking, and then they see strippers, and then some leb dude comes on to tell jokes. What are you trying to get me killed?
Yeah. You got them all rolled up and ready to go, and all of a sudden there's
before
4 you on stage.
The clothes come off. So there is these kind of gigs that you got to do sometimes, and it's just part of the game, man.
Do you ever have to turn any gigs down, or?
Yeah, I have turned gigs down. I've turned gigs, I mean, just for personal or moral reasons, like I asked to do a, commercial for gambling. That's something that I didn't really want to promote. But besides that, or if it, there's, and it's the gigs that I turn down are usually just, TV or commercial stuff that if they don't align with, my morals or who I am, I will. And that's just recently. I mean, back in the day, I probably would have done everything. But, as you know, man, when you have kids and things change, man. You become a little bit more aware of.
Because, at some point my kids are going to.
Exactly, man. And just me personally, like, I've seen just with the gambling thing, I've seen people kind of lose their lives, lose everything. And I don't really want to be help and promote.
You don't want to play a part in
that. And I know, like, it's not, people have a cheeky punt and it's whatever, but that's just me personally. I didn't want to advertise that, But in terms of stand-up gigs, no, man, you got to kind of do a bit of everything because the bad gigs are the ones that make you better, not the good gigs. The good gigs performing in front of a sold-out theatre or a sold-out comedy club, that don't make you better. That just strokes the ego a little bit. That just says to you, hey, look how good you are at doing this. But when you go do those gigs where people aren't listening, or the gigs that humble you, that's when you have to really say, oh, hold up, what are these tools that I've learned or I've picked up over the years that have helped me in these situations and makes you better. In my opinion.
You've done a bit of radio.
I have.
You've done a bit of radio.
Yeah.
You did 6 years in Beirut.
I did 6 years on Virgin Radio in Lebanon, yeah.
How'd that come about?
Oh, man.
Because, you're an Australian icon at this point. Lebanon with Love and Fat Pizza.
Things
and
were going well.
I
released my first special and I got nominated for an ARIA award and I thought, oh, man, that's it. Like, stand-up this is the be-all and end-all. I'm a stand-up comedian. And then a buddy of mine, who a lot of your viewers may be familiar with, Chris Fade.
Chris Fade?
So
he's a legend.
He is a legend. Yeah. So, we've been mates for over 20 years before he moved to Dubai. Now, obviously, he's an icon in Dubai.
He is, yeah.
So he called me up one day and said, Virgin Radio are launching in Lebanon, and the CEO called me looking for a Lebanese guy that works on radio. He's like, listen, I know you haven't worked on radio, but I told him my buddy's a comedian. And I said to him, man, I don't want to do radio.
Because it's very different.
It's very
doing
different.
Stand-up or TV.
And I was very fresh into my career. I would have been maybe 6-7 years in.
Still early.
Very early. And I felt like things are just starting to take off for me. I'd done a couple of TV shows. I'd, starting to tour the country. Like I said, I was just nominated for this award. And then, I kind of spoke to family and management. They're like, listen, a breakfast radio gig to a national audience is not a very easy gig to come by. So when they offered me the gig, I said, you know what, I'll try it for a year. I'll try. I don't lose nothing for trying radio for a year.
Because it was relocating as well. It was more than just
relocating. I was a 29-year-old guy, still living at home with his parents here in Sydney, which, you know, if you're not Lebanese, that's very young.
29 and still living
very young. That's
very
like
young.
12 in white years.
Oh, yeah. Good luck telling your parents you want to move out before you're married.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I said I'd try it for a year. I had been to Lebanon on a holiday prior a couple of times, so I loved the place. But, you know, I mean, I got there and thank God the show was very successful, very fast.
Yep.
And I said, all right, I'll try another year.
Yep.
And another year turned into another 2 years, and that turned into eventually, you know, over 6 years. So, yeah, it was that was an experience and a half, man. Like,
was it a bit of a culture shock initially? Like, because you've moved over there, and you know
it was
not just you're not. It's not like you're no longer acting and no longer on stage. Now you're in radio and you're in a whole other country. So
and it was a process of like learning how to do that as well. You know, there's a lot of stuffing up. There was a lot of, and I've never been a guy that's listened to radio a lot. So I
fly in the studio.
I remember being like 1 week into radio, and you know, when you look at the screen in the studio, like every song has a category, right? So there's like a category for brand new songs, a category for old songs, and they've all got different colors or a different letter affiliated with it. And I didn't know this. I was like brand new, and there some song came. I was like Shakira, and I'm like, oh, and that's a brand, and I hadn't heard it because I never used to listen to radio. So I'd be like, that's a brand new song from Shakira and Dizzy Rascal or whatever. And then I'd get off air and my co-host would be like, that song's like 5 years old. Like, and I'm like, I never heard it before. So there were those, you know, growing pains and things that I kind of had to go through, like with any new gig, you know. But it was great, man. It was, you know, and Lebanon was, it was a place where, like on radio, I could talk about, you know, growing up exactly the way I grew up. Let me kind of explain that. So doing stand-up on stage in Australia, I talk about my upbringing, but there's certain things you can't really say on stage because the audience might not resonate with them. But in Lebanon, I'm talking about my mum making me kibbinaye. I'm talking about my teta and my jiddo, and like I'm getting so deep into my culture while speaking English, and that's what resonated with the people. They like, all right, this guy doesn't sound like us, but
he's one of us.
He's talking, he's talking about all these things growing up like we had. So I think that was the result in the show being so successful. It was
no culture barrier.
It was people just could relate to it.
Yeah,
could relate to it, and the way we listen to radio in Australia or America or Canada, where comedy has a very big influence on the shows, that hadn't happened in Lebanon before. They kind of had their own old school UK disc jockey or American disc jockey, and then, you know, then this stand-up comedian gets on radio there where every break going out on a laugh or on a punchline, or it was just kind of a new, fresh thing for them, and I think that's why it was so successful there.
And what made you give that up and decide to come back to Australia? Because 6 years is like a lifetime.
It's a long time, man. Well, I thought that, you know, I'd reached my level, the highest level, and this is not bragging. This is just kind of, Lebanon is there's only so many people in Lebanon, right? So there's a population of about 5 million people. You broadcast from, you know, say Beirut up to just before the north. So you're targeting, you know, 2.5 million people or so. So like at 6 years, kind of, you know, they told me, you're at the maximum amount of money we can pay you. The resources for the show, we can't give you any more resources. We're maxed out. So I just thought to myself, all right, I'm kind of riding this wave in radio. I started getting offers from overseas and from other people. So I thought, I'm going to go to a bigger radio market.
Okay.
So I had an offer back here in Australia. I'm not going to say which station or where, but the person that was offering me the gig was, you know, a CEO or director of a network, and they kind of got let go 3 months before I came back. I'd already given my resignation. They'd already found someone new, and I was doing like my 6 months before I wrap up. So I just kind of had to come back, and then I came back to no gig.
Right.
So I just started the stand-up thing again, and then COVID hit. So everything got shut down, you know. And then I got offered a gig in North Queensland on radio when everything was locked down in Australia.
Yep.
So there was no stand-up shows happening. You couldn't go to restaurants. You know, we live in the western suburbs, so like we had the army chopper flying over our head while walking the dog.
Man, it was flying over us here in these suburbs.
While
too.
5,000 people are on Bondi Beach suntanning.
Don't even get me started.
I know. We can do a whole episode on that.
We can go for an hour on that, man.
So when I got this gig in Townsville, North Queensland, small little Townsville, and I thought, I was speaking to them up there. They're like, listen, nothing's locked out here. Everything's open up here. And so I took the gig up north, and I was there for a couple of years. And then, came back to Sydney a couple of years ago. So
before you came back, though, you came back to Australia, what was it like living in Lebanon as opposed to, obviously the gig was amazing. Yeah. But you've been in Australia your whole life. You're 30 years old now. You've moved to Lebanon. Even though you're Lebanese, there still would have been a shock, like to the system, a culture shock as well.
Big time, yeah. There was a culture shock, and it was at a time that was quite tense over there. I mean, it's quite bizarre. Like, it always seems quite tense over there if you watch the news, right?
I feel like it's been tense in Lebanon since I was born.
Yeah, so it kind of has been.
Yeah.
But living there, as weird as this sounds, living there is different. So I moved there at the start of 2013. This is in the peak of ISIS in Syria.
And ISIS.
Slaughtering people. They're trying to infiltrate the Lebanese border.
Yeah.
And then you got this 29-year-old guy that wants to go move to this country to start a career in radio. So you can imagine my Lebanese mother absolutely losing her mind, saying, no, do not go. What are you doing? What's wrong with you? So I finally got over that hurdle, and I got there, and it was a culture shock. I mean, you've been.
To be honest with you, I have been, but I haven't been in 20 years.
Wow.
So to tell you that I know Lebanon, look, for a long period of time, I decided to travel elsewhere. I kind of regret that now. If I could go back, I would have spent more time in Lebanon. But, you know, growing up in Australia, you know, and the whole, like, segregation, and it kind of, as bad as it is to say, growing up here, it kind of turns you off your roots, especially when going through the Cronulla riots and the hate, you know, September 11 and the hatred towards, because I'm Muslim myself. Yeah. So the hatred towards that, and it kind of turned me off the whole thing.
Man, listen,
so I was like, I'm Australian.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think it was like that even just for Arabs in general. If you got an Arab, like, because I'm Christian, but I felt the 9/11, post 9/11, how society shifted and how they would treat
all of a sudden
every
Arab, every Middle Eastern was bad. That's it.
Because you know, I don't know, how old were you in 2001 when that happened?
I was 11.
Okay, so I was 18 years old. I'd finished in school, and so I was at a stage where, like, I was going out at that stage, and you know, Lebanese guys had a great reputation out there in, like, society and in the social scene. 9/11 happened and Cronulla riots. We were like the most hated people in society. You know what I mean? So, yeah, totally. I get what you're saying about that. But the thing is, Lebanon is very different, or even the Lebanese people in Lebanon are very different to Lebanese people here in Australia. I feel like a lot of, and maybe not just for Lebanese, maybe a lot of immigrants may be the same. But when they moved here, majority of them in the 60s, 70s, 80s, I think they brought a mentality with them here. There was a lot of, in Lebanon at that time of the Civil War, there was a lot of you stick to your people, we stick to our people. So like Muslims and Christians wouldn't get along, even to the point where, Shia and Sunni wouldn't speak, Maronite, Orthodox, like everyone would stick to their own crew. And I feel like a lot of immigrants have come to Western countries and they keep that mentality and they raise their kids that way.
Yeah.
Where I moved to Lebanon expecting for this segregation and these, man, I worked with people for a year and didn't know whether they were Christian or Muslim.
So I've been told that.
Yeah.
I've been told that it's completely different over there.
People go out together and it doesn't matter, and the culture is very different, and even the going out culture, like here, guys and girls don't really go out together. A group of guys will go out and a group of girls will go out.
Yeah.
Over there, that doesn't happen. Right. Guys and girls are always out together, So when I moved over there, these kind of things shocked me the most. Not am I in a war zone? It's kind of how progressive they were, So
it's almost like we held ourselves back here.
100%.
And they progressed.
Yeah. In terms of the Lebanese or the Arab culture here, that we have been holding ourselves back and they have progressed. Because when you live in an environment like Lebanon or any of these maybe Middle Eastern countries or African countries that are constantly have this unrest, you have no choice but to move on and move forward with your life and love every day.
Try to be united to some degree,
right? Come on, man. Like, you got things that happen in Lebanon, like the port explosion, you know, the biggest non-nuclear explosion in the history of mankind. And people are just expected to pick up and move on with their life. Yeah. And they do. Yeah. Because
very resilient. There's one thing about, Lebanese
I'm sorry
people.
to stop you. We need a new word.
Yeah.
Resilience doesn't cut it. I was in the shopping mall when I was there on holidays on this trip. The fire alarm started going off. Now, if you were in Parramatta Westfields here, fire alarm,
chaos.
Everyone would evacuate.
Chaos.
Over there, nobody moved. Bro, I was in the shop. The girl was like, "Do you want medium or large?" I'm like, "There's a fire alarm going off, man."
They didn't even flinch.
I saw one old man walking up to the security, and he just walked. All right, this guy's taking it seriously. He's like, "Please lower the volume. It's too loud." I'm like, resilience is it, man. Nothing phases these people. But when you've been through what they've been through, you got no choice but to kind of move on with your life.
Try to make the most of what you have, right?
Yeah, and it's bizarre for people that have never been to a place like that to hear. They must say, what kind of life is that to live? But, man.
Do you find that people here, because I actually had a conversation with somebody, it would have been about 3 days ago, and he was Australian, and he brought up Lebanon, and he thought, to this day, like I don't know if it was just naive or whatever it was, but he thought Lebanon was like a desert. Yeah. Because it's in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to him, Lebanon's got one of the most beautiful landscapes in the world.
Yeah.
And
it's a metropolis built onto mountains on the Mediterranean coastline. Right. It is one of the most unique countries in the world.
But people think Lebanon, Middle East, desert, Arabs.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Like I see more women in bikinis there than I do here on the beach. Like it's. And the social culture, the going out culture, you want to do your research. Several night spots and nightclubs in Lebanon have been voted best nightclubs in the world multiple times. Yeah. Like I used to take friends from here. So like I would be living there. I'd have friends from here, whether they be Australian, Ukrainian, or like just friends with different ethnic backgrounds, Assyrian. They would come to Lebanon and they wouldn't want to leave. Yeah. Like my mate, he was as white as they come, Australian. He went and spent 3 weeks in Lebanon. He cried at the airport.
Wow,
that's the kind of time and and that's because of the hospitality he was shown, of the love he was shown by strangers.
Yep.
And they're the things you get over there, and because I say to my family still until this day, like my dream. I want to eventually go back and live there. Yeah. That's my dream, Not to say I don't love Australia and I don't appreciate what this country's done for my family.
Oh,
no,
it's definitely not the
I'm an
case.
Aussie, you know.
I'm the same. I have the,
Yeah.
I haven't been there in 20 years, but
Yeah.
I always say to my wife, like, if the opportunity ever arose
Yeah.
to live there peacefully,
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And again, not because I hate Australia. I love
No.
Australia. I love everything it's given me.
But let's be honest, the lifestyle here isn't the most enjoyable.
Not anymore anyway.
No, not
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
That, to be fair, it wasn't always like that.
Yeah. I try to explain that to the younger gen these days because obviously, like,
Yeah.
we had our day, you know, we
Yeah.
went out, we partied, we did our
Course.
thing. Australia, Sydney used to jump, right?
Totally.
And they just don't get it.
Yeah.
'Cause they don't understand, like, how could it have been over here, but now it's over here.
It was
Like,
it was amazing.
Yeah.
And even like, you know, mentioned my wife, she's not from Australia. So like we were out to dinner in the city on Saturday night and it was dead.
still.
It's dead.
See, I haven't been to the city in a little while.
And she's like, there's no one here. This is like
Yeah.
the CBD. This is the hot spot. And I'm like, yeah, like I don't know kind of what happened, but overseas, and I'm only saying Lebanon because that's where I've lived and that's you know what I can compare it to. But you know, like here on a Tuesday, if you want to go visit a mate and you call him up just 6:30 p.m., he's probably going to say, "Oh man, I got work tomorrow."
That's if he answers the phone.
That's if he answers the phone.
Yeah.
Over there, 10 p.m., I'll call a friend. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm in my pajamas." I'm like, "I feel like having a shisha." He's like, "I'll pick you up in 15 minutes." And he's married with 3 kids. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a people
People are living.
they treat life
People are
differently.
living.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think people here feel like, listen, I'm going to pump out my 60, 65 years and then enjoy the last 20 years of my life. Tomorrow ain't guaranteed, man.
Right?
You know,
Right.
and as cliche as that sounds, it's true.
It is true.
You know, and not until you put in that position like they're put in over there, where they do feel like, hey, I'm maybe things can pop off and my life might not be the same in a month or 2 months or whatever. As extreme as that sounds, it gives them a mindset that, you know, they just love life.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
to make the most of every day.
Yeah. Sometimes we're talking about how things are too easy. Sometimes when things are too easy or just too, I don't know,
I think that's the case here. Just
I think so. Just everything's on a platter for you here. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Everything's just kind of, you don't need to hustle. You don't need to work hard. You can kind of just get through life by chilling.
Cruising,
you know, just cruising
chilling,
through
yeah.
on cruise
And
control.
that's why
You
12
can't do that
syndrome
over
is
there.
so rife here in
Yeah.
Australia, right? It's because of that. Everyone's so accustomed to just,
Yeah,
you know, doing the bare minimum.
yeah.
When someone
Totally.
is
Well,
trying to do more, it's
you know-
like, oh, who do you think you are?
Yeah. And
You know what I hate about Sydney, Australia? You can't even get a coffee after 3 p.m. So sorry, we've cleaned the machine.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, as if nobody drinks coffee after 3 p.m.
Right.
Bro, I drink coffee before bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I get it, man. And even like, I don't want to I don't want to make this whole episode about complaining about Australia, but I feel like they need to do more to revive the culture because the culture is dying every single day. You know.
Yeah.
You got a place like Leichhardt, Norton Street with the Italian Forum. It's a ghost town. It's been a ghost town for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, how can and that was one of the hottest spots in the city.
I remember,
like
yeah.
in New South Wales, in the
Yeah.
state. Like, just because some law changes, you're not allowed to serve alcohol after 10 p.m. or you're not allowed to serve food after this amount of time. Bang, the whole street dies.
You can't smoke for this way from the
you
this
gotta
from the door. You got to
drive your car
and
and-
you got to drive to the next suburb to.
Yeah.
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 I get that.
You know?
Yeah.
So, so going back to the culture shocks, all those things were a culture shock. Not necessarily the negative stuff. It's funny, like when you live in there, you don't feel shocked by that stuff. It's more the, hold up, there's a swimming pool with a bar in the middle of it and people are eating burgers in the middle of the swimming pool. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the shock must have been when you came back and you had to come back to
Oh man,
life.
you didn't want to be around me when I came back. I was complaining about everything.
Yeah.
If you think I'm complaining now, I
And
was
then
like,
not just come back to like you've gone to Townsville.
yeah, yeah. Well, Townsville was actually, it was a nice break. So we were talking about COVID earlier. So my wife, she was living in Canada. We met in Lebanon. She was there on holiday.
Yep.
So we started our long distance relationship And then in 2020, she was here for a friend's wedding. COVID hit. All the borders got shut. She went back to Canada. I was flying to meet her the next month. Little did I know our borders were shut for the next 2 years. And she was in Canada, also like Toronto, the most locked down city in the world. So we didn't see each other for 2 years.
That must have been tough.
It was tough, man. It was tough.
It was early on in the relationship then too, right?
Early on in the relationship was probably about a year and a half in. And it wasn't like we knew we were going to be apart for 2 years because no one knew. The goalposts kept
they just
getting
kept
moved.
moving,
You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's going to be 2 weeks. And then
it was like the initial
month.
lockdown here was supposed to be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
7 months.
So 2 years. So when I got this job in Townsville, I just thought to myself, my girlfriend at the time, my wife and my girlfriend at the time, she's not with me. I can't work here. There's nothing going on. No live shows. I'll take the gig. And then she eventually came over about 4 months. Things started to open up. And we had that first couple of years of just kind of making up for lost time. You know, we got married straight away and just, you know, we just kind of started living our lives. So we were in this kind of regional, remote town of Townsville, which is a beautiful place. No ethnics, but beautiful.
As white as it gets.
Oh, bro. So funny. People used to say to me, do the Lebanese have a bad name up there? I go, bro, Lebanese haven't been that far north to ruin their name yet.
I love that. I love that.
So the only ethnics there were really Italians, and there were Italians that went like they're in the 1800s, so they're like third, fourth generation.
They're white.
They're Aussie, man, as Aussie as they come. But it was a different life in Townsville, man. You know, like there's one good Asian place to eat. There's like one half good Italian place. And that's all you kind of have for cuisines. Everyone just goes to the pub to have schnitty and steak and chips every night, you know? So it was a different life. It was kind of like I'd gone back to Adelaide in the 80s.
Yeah, it would have been very similar.
But it was good, man. It was good for you know, just kind of making up for that lost time with my wife.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're a father now?
I am a father, yes.
How old?
My son's two and a half.
2.5. So what's that been like? What's it been like stepping into that part of your life? Because I say it all the time, right? Like before I had kids, you know, I thought, you know, I knew what it would be like to have kids. Because people are telling you all the time that it's amazing and it's beautiful. Nephews or
nieces.
And you love your nephews and nieces and you think it's going to be the same, right? But it isn't until you have your own child that it hits you and it's completely different.
Yeah, it is.
So what's that been like for you? Because again, it's been a very full-on 5 years since you come back to Australia. You know, the lockdowns and moving to Townsville and then getting married and making up for lost time.
Yeah. It's full on. And we didn't...
Thank you.
And we didn't really have a lot of time after we got married because we were trying to make up for lost time. We're like, we've lost 2 years. Yeah, like let's just have. So 3 months after we got married, my wife got pregnant, and so we were actually just having this conversation yesterday. Like we didn't really have time to just like date and you know, because we were doing the long distance thing and it would be great, we'd travel together, but like living in the same place, just dating and kind of we didn't really do that, you know, we didn't do a lot of it. So had kids straight away, but you know, man, I had my kid when I was 40, so my wife, she's a little younger than me. I'm like, I'm already like not allowed to come close to my son at night because my knees click too loud, you know, like I could have waited too much longer, you know. But it's been the best, man. And you're right. There's nothing like it. It's phenomenal. It's rewarding. It's beautiful. I mean, you know, when your child hugs you and kisses you, and there's nothing like it in the world. And even like as selfish as this sounds, it's quite rewarding. You know, raising kids, and especially when you're doing I feel like we're doing an okay job. We're doing a good job. And when you see your child, you know, talk to other people with that confidence, with those manners, and you see them handle themselves and just enjoy life, like it's quite rewarding to say, well, I feel like this is what life is about. It's about passing it on to the next generation and doing a better job than maybe how we were raised. And that's not to say our parents didn't do a good job, but they were working 7 days a week. They were in a new country where they didn't speak the language. They didn't have time.
I was going to say, like, I used to see my dad on Sunday.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
You know, he'd leave before I wake up. He'd come home after I went to sleep, and I'd see him on
and
Sunday.
God bless him, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's, you know.
It's very different, though, because, like, despite all that, like, we never had a feeling of, like, our dads weren't around.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Because our mums really instilled into us that your father's working his ass off to provide for you guys.
Yeah.
It's a bit different now. Like, if your dad's not around, it's like...
actually a good point.
You know, like, oh, my dad was never around. So, because my dad's like my best mate.
Yeah.
You know? He had me when he was 19.
Yeah.
So we're
That's
not
the
that
best.
far apart.
Yeah.
So he's my best mate. But you talk about that to like someone from a different culture, and they'd be like, oh, like it's surprising that you're close with your dad.
Well, you were a neglected child.
You were a neglected child. Yeah, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's actually a great point. I never felt that way either. And I feel like it's because we have access to so many other people's opinions, and so many other people telling us what they think, is why you could think that you're a neglected child if your father works 6 days a week, breaking his ass for the family, and you could maybe feel that way because people are telling you that's how you should feel.
Yeah.
And listen, I feel like, you know, you got to justify yourself every time you make a comment. And that's not to say that there aren't kids that are neglected. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But yeah, my father didn't have the opportunity I had. I'm a stand-up comedian. I go to work at night. I got every morning with my son. I got days with my son. It's a blessing, and I don't take it for granted at all. So I feel like I can give more time to my son than what my dad could have given to me. But like I said, man, he came to a country, didn't know the language, had to work 7 days a week. So yeah, man. Listen, it's been the best. I love it. We got another one on the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother. So in about 7 weeks, our life is about to tell me, bro, going from 1 to 2. You have to give me some insight.
Yeah, look, 1 to 2 is all right.
Okay.
1 to 2 is okay. I found 1 to 2 wasn't that much because there's 2 of you.
Okay.
Right.
And you're already kind of been through it, and you're a little bit confident.
Because you're saying your son now is 2.5.
Correct.
Okay, so you're still in that baby phase.
Totally.
Right. So you haven't outgrown that yet. So 1 to 2 is okay if you haven't back to back like you're doing.
Yeah.
I found going from 2 to 3 was a lot harder.
You're outnumbered now.
Now you're outnumbered.
Yeah.
You know, because we had them back to back too. So by the time Jimmy came, my son, these 2 are still need all the attention in the world. But now there's another one, and there's only 2 of us.
That needs all the attention.
That needs all the attention, right?
Yeah.
And look, he was a boy. He was the first boy in our family, so he did get all the attention.
He's the king.
He's the king. He's my dad's king. Named him after my dad. They share the same birthday. So
He's set.
He's set. Like, I don't even have to worry about that kid. You know, I don't even.
The whole family's looking after.
Yeah, he's set. Yeah. So look, I think 1 to 2 is all right because there's 2 of you, and you're still in that phase. If you plan on having more.
Inshallah, God willing.
It'll probably get harder then.
Yeah.
So I don't think you have much to worry about now.
It's funny, like before we had kids, my wife was like, I want 5 or 6.
I used to say that.
You know, we had our first boy, and she's like, I'd love 2 or 3. Now she's like, in the 3rd trimester of a second pregnancy, she's like, listen, this may be it.
I'm done.
Yeah. This may be it.
Yeah.
So.
I was the same. I used to say to my wife, I want 4 or 5. I want a big family. I want an army. Right? And then we had two girls back to back. And then my wife was like, well, we need to go for the boy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm content. You know, I don't need to have a son because I don't know what it's like having a son.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Then we had the 3rd, and thank God, and I'm blessed and grateful every day.
Would you go for a 4th?
See, this is what I'm getting at. Like, my wife is hounding me now. She
Really?
wants the 4th.
Wow.
You know, it's usually the other way around,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So, but my wife is the youngest of 8.
Okay, so she's been from that environment,
Right,
come from
so
that
she's
environment.
grown up in an environment where
Yeah.
there's 7 other
Yeah.
siblings around, and it's chaos, and it's
Yeah.
fun, and so she kind of wants that for our kids, as well as she wants a brother for Jimmy,
Yeah.
which we can't guarantee, but
Yeah, of course.
So she's hounding me for a fourth, so I don't know how I feel about that. Just
Yeah.
because I'm still recovering. So.
How old's Jimmy?
Jimmy's 3.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's still recovering 3 years later.
Yeah, so because it's 7,
So 3
6,
years
3,
tough,
it's been
yeah.
back to back. Because we had the first, when we fell pregnant with Sophie, Camilla was only 6 months old.
Okay.
So it was really back
Wow.
to back.
Well, let me ask you, as somebody that, you kind of doing your bit in society, you're a successful business person, you're
you.
teaching your kids good morals, good values, you're shaping them up to be people that contribute positively in society. Do you feel like someone in that position has a duty or an obligation to maybe pump out more kids for the betterment of the world?
You
Because
know what?
I'm sorry, there's a lot of little shits these days, and there's a lot of parents doing terrible jobs.
Not that we judge anyone. Unfortunately,
I'm judging.
He's judging.
I'm judging. No.
He's judging. Yeah,
But
I get you. Yeah.
If you can put good human beings out into the world, and you are blessed to have children,
yeah.
I just feel like, because I have some of my closest friends, I can think of about 4 or 5 of them. They've stopped at 2, and they're like, "That's it. We
Yeah.
want to give our kids the best possible life that we can give them."
My best mate, my brother, he's the same. He had
Yeah.
2 boys, and that was
That's it.
Yeah.
And what's his reasoning?
Same sort of exactly what
He
you're
just
saying.
wants to
wanna
give him a good
the best
life.
and provide the best for them and give them all his attention.
and doesn't want to drive a Tarago.
Doesn't want to drive a Tarago. Which is no issue with,
Yeah.
and he's always making fun of me. Like,
Yeah.
when are you having the next one, Bill? When are you having the next one? Because I'm the guy in the group that's having kids,
Yeah,
right? Because
totally.
everyone else only had 2, and
I feel like, it's are we stopping? Are we cutting ourselves short from having more kids because we don't want to put the hard yards in now? We don't want to do the tough work now because this is where the tough work is. And I know when they become teenagers, there's a whole
it's a whole other level,
another layer
from what I've been
of
told.
issues. Yeah. But I feel like maybe sometimes we're afraid of the hard work now when they're young.
Yep.
And we won't reap the benefits later because, when you're old and, who else is going to come,
Well, it's
hang out with you?
Well, it's funny you say that because everyone I speak to who's older, who's had their kids and their kids are older and they're now in their like 50s, and they all say to me, "Hey, Bill, if your wife wants more kids, have more kids.
Yeah.
Because I regret not having more kids." And that's what they all say to me. And these are guys that have 3 or 4 kids, and they regret not having more.
Yeah, wow.
So, because it's essentially like, you get older, who you're going to hang out with, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's what I mean.
That's what your kids are.
Because your mates are probably going to either be dead or hanging out with
their kids and their grandkids.
Yeah, exactly.
Because look at our parents, right? What do our parents do most of the time?
Yeah, they're not having poker nights every 2 nights, and you know what I mean? Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
they're not hanging out with their friends.
And
all
there's
the time.
that fear in me. I have that fear as well. Like, am I going to regret not having more later on?
Yeah.
Like, is it a psychological thing now where I'm tired and I'm over it, and like, no, like we're still tired. We're still in that phase.
I think
right?
a lot of people are in that mindset. I think many people think, listen, I'm going to have to upgrade the house. I'm going to have to upgrade the car. I'm going to have to downgrade my quality of life. Maybe I can't buy those nice clothes that I like to buy all the time. But I feel like these are all temporary things. You don't, and this is just my perspective, my opinion. Like, I'm not expecting everyone to think this way, but the way I see it is like, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not someone that just, I'm just chilling, relaxing in life. I'm working hard. I'm trying to provide for my family. But, I just feel like I'm at that stage now. And I had my first kid at 40. Yeah. So, like, my first son's going to be 20.
You have to
I'm
pump
going
him
to be
out.
60.
You have to pump him out.
So I have to, But I just feel like, I just feel like having 1 or 2, if you can have more and you're good people, I feel like you should just have more, man. Don't be so scared.
I think it's what you said. I think we have a duty to bring more good people into this world, right?
And I can't remember who it was. Before I had kids, they always said to me, if you're worried about you don't have the money or you're not ready, you're never going to have the money. You're never going to be ready. Like
Yeah, look, that's
that
one
always
thing, yeah.
works. It works out. And whether you have faith or not, I truly believe God will provide. And just we live in a time and place where if you work hard,
You can make something.
You can make something of yourself.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, look, when we fell pregnant with our first, when my wife fell pregnant with Camilla, I was still in the building phases of my career, my life, and the business, and I was freaking out. But same thing, it's like we have a saying where the rizq comes with the child.
100%, man.
Right? It's an Arabic thing,
100%,
and it's true, man.
Yeah.
It's true. Like everything works out the way it's supposed to work out. So for everyone out there that's wondering whether they should have kids, just have them.
Have them.
Everything will work itself out.
Because I had my son when we were living in Townsville, and I had kind of like, I was decided to leave my work because I wasn't really happy.
Yeah.
So he was 3 months old, and I was without a job, and my wife was a stay-at-home mum. So, but things work itself out.
Things
You know what I mean?
Things always work out.
So I don't feel like people should be so afraid to want to give their kids the world.
And I think that's what it comes. That's what it boils down to.
It's because we got this freaking phone in
phone in
our
the hand,
that
and we're always
we're comparing. Whether we think we are or we're not,
we are.
Subconsciously,
No, we are.
are.
Subconsciously, we're all comparing.
We are.
It's unfortunate, but that's reality.
So yeah, have kids, man.
Have kids.
If you can.
So you're currently touring or
currently just finished up the tour.
Finished up the tour?
I had the show, The Immigrant's Kid.
How'd that go?
It was great, man. Did some overseas shows as well. We went to Dubai, Lebanon, Jordan, and then we did around Australia as well.
What was it like going back to touring?
Man,
you've been off that for a while.
Yeah. It was awesome, man. It was great, and it was great because the last time I did like a tour with an hour show, I was a completely different comedian. We were talking maybe 10 years ago. I was probably a lot filthier, a lot dirtier. I would curse now. I don't curse on stage. I don't do no material about sex or drugs or anything like that. So it was enjoyable for me being totally myself on stage, not having to worry about editing myself, who's in the crowd. That's kind of like what back in the day, even though I'd do some like really below the belt risque material, deep down I was always thinking to myself, there was a young guy in the audience, maybe, that.
You weren't as worried about backlash back then.
No, it wasn't about backlash. It was my moral compass. It was me morally, and I had friends that say, man, you shouldn't really be doing that kind of material. And I was just the young guy, just brushed it off, saying, hey, man, what do you know, man? This is my thing, But now as you're older, you kind of a little bit more mature. You see a little bit more in life. You realize kind of what's important. And it's just my choice. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy comedy with cursing in it. No, I do. But me personally,
it's not what you want to do anymore.
It's not what I want to do anymore, And it was really enjoyable, just going on stage and just telling stories about my life. This whole show was kind of about being raised by an immigrant and how I'm raising my kid the same kind of way.
Yeah.
So it was
full circle.
Yeah, it's funny because growing up, we probably, when we were raised by our parents, the things, you wanted to go get a burger, they put you a burger with square bread at home or a Lebanese bread.
We have McDonald's at home.
A hot dog in Lebanon. Exactly. These kind of things, you think to yourself, man, I would never raise my kids like this.
Yeah.
But now we got kids, I find myself doing so many things.
Do you find yourself thinking back and being like, now I get what my parents are talking about?
Bro, like we just speak Arabic to my son.
Yeah.
Like that's shit an immigrant does, because they don't know the language.
That's
but
right.
we wanted to, it was important for us to, try and have our kids to be bilingual, to learn the culture. And so like my son, like he does speak some English, but it's mainly Arabic.
Awesome.
And it's great.
That's awesome.
It's weird when we're out in public sometimes because just on the weekend we're out at dinner and I'm saying to my wife, because we speak English to each other, but
Yeah.
Arabic to our son. So I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, babe, the chicken and the potatoes are amazing. You got to try. Then I'll turn to my son and be like, "Leg baba, lezim tekul kulak letok." People look like, who's this Bin Laden baby these guys are raising? Why are they talking Arabic to
Where'd
this
they
kid?
find this baby?
Yeah, they're speaking English to each other. But so I find myself doing these things, the way our parents raised us, bringing those things back.
The show was a success.
The show
tour
were
a success?
great, man. Thank God. Had a bunch of sellouts. If they weren't sold out, they were pretty much close to it. So it was also went to like Jordan. Never done a show in Jordan before, which was interesting. It was great. Dubai was awesome.
Dubai's always awesome.
Dubai's great. I had my buddy Chris Fade open the show for me. So
Awesome. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. So the first 10 minutes was just ripping into him. So that was quite fun. But yeah, and Lebanon was great. Going back to Lebanon and doing the show there. So yeah, man, the tour was great, and definitely looking to. We're looking at some more places now. So I was looking
to extend the tour?
some places in Europe and North America. So we're just
I was just
working
about to
on
ask
some
what's
dates.
next on the card. So
Yeah, we're just working on some more tour dates, and there's a few things coming up, man. There's a few things coming up I can't really talk about now, but we'll be announcing them all in due time. So.
Well, Anthony, it's been an absolute pleasure
Right.
having you on, man. Like
Thanks
I said,
for
I feel
having
like
me.
I'm sitting across from an icon, like a
Oh,
legend. Because I
man.
grew up watching you, especially Lebanon with Love.
Right.
Like that to me is my childhood. So
I love hearing that, man.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. I really do. I appreciate that. It's nice things. And thanks for having me on, man. I love what you're doing. I love how you speak into different voices in the community and getting people's story out there. And God bless you, man. I just wish you the best for your family and for your businesses. And
Thank you.
and keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Same goes to you, man. Good luck
Good,
with
man.
everything you're doing in the future. And I'm sure you're going to absolutely kill it like
Thank
you
you,
always
brother.
do. So
Appreciate that,
thank
man.
you.
Thanks, my man.